We're good now. Okay,
Okay.
we're good now. Thank you very much. So you're welcome on board, everyone. This is the Covenant Nation Film and Theatre Community Group, and it's what we call the Industry Conversations. It holds at 4 p.m. every Sunday, and today we have the pleasure of hosting Chika Chukwu. And please, Chika, in the course of your introduction, you will please augment everything that I'm about to say, just in case I do not properly represent you. First of all, Chika has been an angel. She picked up this baton very late yesterday, I believe. We were trying to confirm one of our other speakers, but they were not available. So she was able to join at very short notice. So thank you very, very much for being on board. Just by way of introduction, the Covenant Nation Community Film and Theatre Community Group is a pack of professionals who are in theatre and film business. And over the last 6 weeks or so, we have been talking about building capacity as believers in the business of film, theatre, show business generally. We've featured subjects that border on finance, that border on raising capital, on not being okay to be broke as an artist. We've also looked at the legal side. Last week, Sunday, we dealt with the intellectual property, protecting your creations. And today we're talking about the business side of showbiz.
Okay.
And so thank you very much. It's usually a very informal setup, so we try not to, we're creative people, so we know how we keep our hair.
Yes.
So I'm just going to go straight into it by asking you to kindly introduce yourself. I otherwise would have read a profile, but I think it's better for you just to speak from the gut and just deal with this as though you're talking to your industry colleagues, because
industry colleagues will already know me. I wouldn't need an introduction, would I then? Yeah.
No, you wouldn't. So just give you an idea of the demographic. A few people here are wet behind the ears, so they're just starting out in their careers. Some people are somewhere in the middle. A few people are also in the advanced stages. And some of us are also doing this as a side. My name is Dipo Adeshida. I have the pleasure of hosting you this evening. So without further ado, you're welcome, Chika.
Hey, Dipo, I just want to note down your name. I tend to note down people's names. That way I don't forget. And so that if I pass you tomorrow, or we're doing business, I know, oh, well, I met Shina. Okay, so hi, everyone. I hope everybody can hear me clearly. My name is Andrea Chika Chukwu, or some of you know me or see me online as Andrea Ahern or Andrea Chukwu Ahern. Okay, the Ahern is my married name, so just to put that out there. So I know that a lot, well, I'm Nigerian, Igbo, I guess my name gives it out. And I'm an actor, producer, creative person, AD. I've dabbled in directing, but it's really not I prefer working as an AD because I love working with actors. I am an acting coach. I have an acting coach training business of my own. I also help new actors with trying to get them the acting roles. So the different things that I offer in my coaching business. I also work with new producers, developing their stories and all of that. So, and then I also can sit down and discuss with people their plans, their story, give you a typical idea of whether your budget will work with the story that you're thinking about. So not exactly budgeting for you, but if you tell me a story, I can tell you right off the top whether, and then I'll ask you how much do you have? And then I can tell you it's gonna work, not gonna work, and the ideas you have behind that. I also encourage young filmmakers, especially young actors. I tend to say, get a side hustle. So, but yeah, so that's me. I'm a singer. Anybody who knows me knows I started as a backup singer for the late Sami Nedo, and I sang with Idris Abdul Karim for years. And anybody knows, well, it wasn't my first rodeo, but my biggest hit show on TV was Fuji House of Commotion, working with Amaki Igwe. We went on to do a lot of other series and Yeah. Okay, so I'm a trained actor, trained producer. I went to film school in LA, and I think that's most of it. So I don't overthrow it out there.
Okay, thank you very much. So is it okay to call you Andrea or
No,
Chika?
call me Chika. Chika is even at home, my husband calls me Chika. It's just that my first name is Andre. And if you're Igbo, you know that the amount of Chikas out there is humongous. It's kind of like, so the idea is just generally to make sure everybody knows which Chika, at least in the industry, you kind of know how many Chikas there are anyway. So it's out there. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that. So my next question would be that, did you pick this industry or did it pick you?
I picked the industry.
Okay, how did that decision happen?
Okay, so I have always been a creative child. Like, there's no, I think that there are people who identify with who they're going to be from childhood. I was one of those people. So I grew up watching a lot of the Indian films from the 70s, 80s. I watched a lot of Sound of Music. I watched Kakra Dan. And I had Onyeka Onwenu sing. I wanted to be Onyeka. I wanted to be Whitney Houston. And I wanted to be a Lux girl like Patricia Blair. And there was just so much, and you heard Tales by Moonlight. You saw those too. And I kind of knew early that was where I was directed. But obviously, as a child of the 70s, my mother just kept drumming in I was going to be a lawyer. That was the transition. And when I finished A levels, I went into uni and I couldn't cut it. I got there and a few days later, I packed up my bag and I went home. So I was 17 at this time. And my mom asked me what I was doing back home. And I said, I'm not going there. It's just not for me. And it's not for me. This was A.B. Zaria back then. And I just thought, no, I'll be wasting. But at this time, I had already joined the industry. Let's just say I joined the industry at 16. The late J.T. Tom West at the time was one of my good family friends. So he encouraged me to come out a lot. Uncle Olu and the late Enebele Elebo they were the ones who actually encouraged me not to give up. So for like 2 years, I'd just come out where actors used to hang out and I'd just be singing and telling jokes. And there were days I'd feel down. And Uncle Olu and Uncle Enebele would tell me, come here. That whole British background also, I think it helped them in terms of their training, helped them in encouraging people. They'll say, oh, come over, have a drink. They'll be having a drink. They'll buy me a malt and tell me about that story again or sing me that song again you like. So they pushed me to not give up. And so I was getting roles, but I wasn't getting paid for it. At the time, Jude Okoye was also was cusping as a film director. The Jude Okoye, as P Square's Jude Okoye. And so we were all friends and just starting out back then, and I think I just done a film called, what was it? It was myself, Theodora Chanago, Jim Ike. There was just a lot of stars in these. At the time, Jim wasn't a star, but hey, we were all starting. But we had people like Zach Ojiene, Barbara Udo back then, if you had watched the films of the early Nollywood. But we didn't get paid. It was called Sad Christmas, and it was a pretty sad Christmas. We didn't get paid, and it was awful. And so I had to go back home. I had to go back to my mom. I was in Lagos at the time, and then went back, and then she goes, "Oh, you finished your A levels, you're doing this." And then I went to school, and it didn't work. I came back home, but I got hell. Like anybody who's my age would remember that parents back then, they just, it's a degree or nothing, you're out. Yeah. And then one day I packed up a bag. I made sure I had the basic things in the suitcase. And I told my mom I'd been saving money for a while. And just to put it out there, I started working when I was 14. It wasn't because we needed it, but my mom always used to encourage us that if you wanted something, you had to find a way to pay for it. So I worked every trade fair that came up. I worked as a receptionist for the first multi-choice office in Enugu at the time. It was then called multi-choice before we started cutting into Africa Magic and all of that. And this was when the large dishes were being installed. And so they picked me from a trade fair job, and then I moved on to work for them permanently for a while. So I worked the evening shifts after school. And yeah, but when I turned 17, I realized it wouldn't work. And my mom was saying one thing, my head and my heart was saying another thing. My parents were separated at the time, which wasn't a problem. I saw my dad often. And so I put my box down. I put in necessities. So you kind of know when you're moving and you don't know where you're going to. I put in what I call my necessities. And then I headed out. And I remember my mom, I was thinking I was going to sneak out, kind of run away. But my sister was holding on to me. At the time, she was the youngest at home. She wanted me to take her. And I couldn't because I didn't know where I was going to anyway. And I had money to take me as far as Lagos. That's all I knew. I didn't have money to stop by, drop by, all those kind of crap. I had money to take me to where I was going to and maybe get a cab. And so obviously in the midst of all of this, my mom heard I was getting outside the door. She opened the gate. She said, stop there. And then she said, if you leave now, don't come back. And I'm done. And I thought, oh, this is your opportunity to go back, try to explain it to her. But I thought if I don't go now, I never will. So I left and my mom disowned me. It was what it was.
Just to recap, how old were you at this time?
17.
17, okay.
My mom disowned me, and then it was my first time ever getting on a night bus. So I took a night bus. I think it was Ife Sinachi. The bus broke 1 hour outside of Abuja. And I kid you not, I was scared, but I was determined. I thought, okay, I'll sit it out and we'll get to Lagos anyways. They tried to fix it, it didn't work, and everybody was leaving the bus and going back to come back in the morning or take another bus. I didn't have money to take another bus. They were not refunding. Like, where's the money I paid you now? Something about they're bringing a bus. At some point, somebody came and said, this bus isn't coming tonight. It's going to come in the morning when they pick other people. People got off, took some buses back, and here I was sitting pretty with my do-rag at the time. I used to tie a lot of bandanas, and long and short of it, the conductor tried to rape me. Didn't happen. The one thing anybody who knows me knows is also I'm a hardcore. So I kind of fight like we die here today. All time I die. And so it didn't, anyway, long and short, somebody helped me fight him off. Then they sat with me till the morning. The other bus came, I got on it. I didn't make it to Lagos for like 4 months. Let's just say that. So I got on the bus, but I was feeling a kind of way. So when I got to Benin, I got out. This was the telephone call period of back in the day. I called up a friend of mine, Theodora Chanogo, who was in Uniben at the time, part-time, and was also acting. And I said, this is what has happened. Theo, what do you want me to do? Obani, what's going on? And she goes, calm down. There's one of these cars, these taxis that drive into Uniben, because she was leaving off campus, but inside Uniben, one of those back staff places. She goes, bring your stuff. Get in the cab. I will meet you at this junction. Get off there. And that was my story. I ended up getting into Uniben, but I was trying to get a job. Found out the job that was being offered wasn't so much so a job, if you get what I mean. And I thought, I've come this far. I'm not going to stop in Uniben and get pregnant or something stupid like that. It will be a hard, I told you so. And I told Theodore, I say, I still have this money remaining because the bus drivers gave me half of my fare back when I said I wasn't going any further. So I took that, headed off to Lagos. And when I got to Lagos, obviously, I didn't have any more money. I had two choices: get in a cab, head to my auntie's house, and if for some reason she's not there, cab problem. Who are you going to be telling? Oga, not vessel. It was in Lagos. Hey, well, whose story? So, you know what I did? I walked from Yaba, from that's their bus stop cab area. I walked from there to Surulere, to Masha, Adelabu. So what I did is I crossed the railway with my box, came out the Mushi area. Then if you know Lagos very well, there's a road that connects you to Ogulano Drive. I walked all the way down there, turned out into Ogulano, then straight down to, and that's how I arrived back.
So hold on a second. Did you know Lagos at this time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
My dad lived in Lagos.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that just gives us some context that you weren't a first timer here.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I wasn't a first timer. Like I said, I'd been getting roles prior to this time. Good thing is, a month after that, I got my first lead role, and I started getting paid. I got a TV job at Old Clapperboard Super Screen. I think I don't know whether they're closed now. And so things started booming. So it was the right decision, as much as my mom wasn't talking to me. And my dad tried to stay out of it. And at some point, my aunt told me she couldn't be a part of it, so I had to leave her house. So I left and found myself a place to move into. So it hasn't always been all clear, but my mom is now my fan, so all good.
It's all good. So like, as I say, retrospect is 2020, so.
Yes. Do not say the year that was, but hey, that's all right.
Okay, so obviously you I mean, this was something that you had clarity on right from the start, and yes, you sort of fought your way through, until it became clearer where exactly you would play. Mm-hmm. But let me ask this question, because our focus today, is, and thank you so much for sharing your story. One of the tenets of the community groups is vulnerability. Mm-hmm. We're not here to sugarcoat and make ourselves.
Yeah, that's why I told the story, because a lot of people have an idea when you chase this dream that you will always have support or you will always have love. There are people who get that, but a great majority of creatives, whether in Nigeria or Africa as a whole, or the diaspora, actually it's a journey that you have to believe in and go alone most of the time.
Yeah. So my question really would now focus around sustaining this passion. Okay. Was it lucrative for you as much as it was? And I'm saying financially now, not just about mental satisfaction. Yeah.
No, whether you call it acting or filmmaking, is a thankless job. Let me just put that out there. If you get lucky, you win an award, you make some money that you are able to save to take care of yourself when you're older. We're not exactly in Hollywood. Even here in the UK, you have people who have been working for 40, 30 years and still can't afford a nice life. So let me put it out there. An actor's job is a thankless job. Filmmaker's job, some filmmakers make money, some don't. But if you do it right, where we are right now, because we're no longer in the age of film shooting 16 or all of that. If you do it right, you plan right, you should be able to make money. Might not make shitloads, but you will make money to maintain yourself and take care of yourself if you plan right and work with the right team. So you asked me a question. There's no foolhardy here. I always told myself the truth. If you want to do this, it's important that you tell yourself the truth at every point in time. IK and I have been working together for years now, and we've known each other from kind of like the beginning, from when he started and from when I started. And we both started chasing different dreams and ended up doing a lot of things together. So the truth is, be real with yourself. I tell my students now and anybody I'm working with, inclusive of producers and all of that, get a side hustle. Get something that's making you money, that takes care of you, so that one, your principles are not, you don't end up finding yourself where somebody says, let me touch you there, or let's change this person so that we make money. You don't do stuff that when you go to bed at night, you feel uncomfortable with. So for me, that was music. Thank God he gave me a voice. I didn't even know how much it would save me until I actually entered the industry. So I started working with people, first of all, in the studios. I worked with Sammy Nadal. Well, Sammy Nadal was kind of live, so he paid me. And if we got a job, so we got paid for rehearsals, we got paid for showing up for a gig. You got extra if you showed up early. And what that did for me, well, at this time, again, Julius was not a star at the time. Ramsey was, but all of us loved music. So we did a lot of karaoke and word of mouth at the time also. But now people have social media. Word of mouth was great. We formed a community, so we all stayed friends. So as friends, if you went for an audition, Desmond wasn't a star then. Desmond and I were all starting up at this time. If I was going for an audition, I went to Desmond's house in, what's it called? No, where Shita, the Amala Shita is, what do they call that roundabout? That Adena Ogusa roundabout, the other side. Anyway, that's where he lived. And so I'd walk there in the night and say, guy, there's audition. I see there's a fine boy role here. I saw, come. Or he'll walk down to my end, or we would all maybe be meeting at, if anybody knows the director, Robert Peters now. Robert started as an actor, anybody who knows him. He works a lot with AY now. So most of the films you see AY shoots, the ones he used to win the Guinness Book of Record one, was shot by Robert Peters. He lives in Atlanta at the moment. But these are all the things, all the people I knew back then, Uche Jumbo. So the thing was, we all used to spread word of mouth. So you'd have people like maybe Bimbo Akintola, Victoria and Nyama, who were my friends. They helped me a lot. Victoria used to help me get like ushering jobs. If somebody was getting married or they were doing some kind of corporate shows back then, and they would make clothes for us, house us, feed us, and pay us. This was, I'm not going to call the year. Anybody waiting for my age. Anyway.
It's on the internet already.
Anyway, well, the internet has its own idea of how old I am. That's all right, if that's what it says. Anyway, so we would find ourselves in these places where we would have these jobs. And so making 10K in the late 90s was great. I'm telling you, 10K, if you budgeted yourself with your 150, it meant that if you contributed with who you were housing with, you could pay your rent. Yeah. And we didn't used to do a lot of spending. There were weeks for noodles and egg, weeks for jollof rice and egg only. And then we only bought frozen chicken when they were doing sales. Like, we kept it real. We kept it 100. There was a time when we only ate when we went to Robert Peters' house. And he was the designated cook for maybe a month. And so if you got your own money, you went there to dole out feeding money and all. And then we had another friend, Biola Arubo, who had an accident, lost his voice box and all. Jude Aurora also, God bless him, because he was the one who told me about going to Amaka's audition with John and Jama. But a lot of things that happened back then was word of mouth. A lot of artists you see had second, we all call it side hustle now, but we all had second things that we did. So for me, I was doing voiceovers as well. And then I was doing soundtrack voicing. Now, so you hear the soundtracks you hear on films, right? Those are contracted to sound people. Most sound people don't sing. They hire singers to sing the song they have written for a producer's film. That was who I was. And my guardian angel, where that was for a while, was Austin Aulonu. Bless him, he's still around. And yeah, he and Frank Raja at the time, that was all we did. So for me, that was my side hustle. It paid me a lot. It paid me a lot. I generally, so singing, and then I was modeling at the time for anybody in the industry. Oh my goodness, I'm telling too many tales. IK would know the guy I'm talking about, Tony Wise. I was modeling as well. At some point, I did a bunch of Delta soap adverts for the North. Simio Belua, bless him, gave me a few jobs that helped me there. So, and if you know, like Desmond, who got the Tantalizer job, anybody who got like an ad job got a bit of money to keep them. So you didn't go on a spending spree. You kind of planned. And yeah, so me, I generally, the things that cost me most, because my agreement with my dad eventually, when we talked about this whole thing, was no bikes, I was never to get on a bike, and I was never to enter Mulwe. And I wasn't good with buses. So I always took a drop in Lagos. You know how you say drop? So I always took a private cab or a cab alone. I know everybody used to laugh at me. And then I kept my wardrobe real, you know. I bought 2 pairs of shorts or 3, go to Yaba. I went to Yaba early Friday back in the day. Everybody knows that's what we did. And I'm saying everybody. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth, because there is too much culture going on right now where people think, if you do not rock your Gucci, they were selling Gucci then. Let me tell you what those things in Yaba are. There are clothes that other people don't use in their wardrobes anymore here, and you put it in the charity shops here. It's given to charity, but something, you know, Niger is Niger. We are who we are. We find a way anyway to sell it as business, and then our brothers and sisters in Yaba buy it, or Lagos. And then I went to Lagos and I used to buy 2 yards. There was a time my mother and I used to do that as a business. I'll buy 2 yards of the materials they don't want, and I used to pair the colors and make tops and wear it on my shorts. So if anybody knew me from back in the day, they used to call me the shorts girl. Adam actually teases me. I remember when we shot phone swap, she said, hot legs or Yubo girl. I went to school in Port Harcourt. Most of my growing years in high school was in Port Harcourt, and I was taught a lot by British teachers before I moved back to the UK. So obviously I always had an accent when it came to my English. But me, I'm a proper Igbo. You know, and I'm a Niger girl to the core. Oh, join, you know, proudly. You know, I speak a little bit of Yoruba, a little bit of Hausa, and all of that. And so I made those things. I used them as my advantage. I've just cut my hair. Anybody who knows I always do stuff with my hair. Well, I had natural, long, very long hair. So I always wore a pony or had my hair out. Advantages. I used the things I had to my advantage. Anybody, let one person point out when they've ever seen me with a weave. I've worn one for a friend's wedding, and you will see me with a wig in a film. That's about it. I don't kind of rock a style that I'm not interested, or I do not have the funds to keep going, you know. And that's the thing. Sorry, all the people sending messages, I'll read in a bit. So I'm just answering the question so that we get it going. And yeah, so that was it really. So we keep it real. I think all the older people in the industry, well, I don't know what's going on now. Back in the day, we kept it 100%. We only lived, so nobody was ashamed of saying they lived in Ojuelegba or they lived in Baja or whatever. It didn't matter where you lived. What mattered was the talent you brought to the picture. What mattered was what your talent was. What was it you were bringing to the table? And I think that's a little bit lost now with people who are starting. There's a lot of carryover with stuff that is on social media. I tend to tell my students also that, you know, somebody told me the other day, that her phone doesn't take good pictures. And I said, it has nothing to do with your phone. You take a picture, go use this app. And when you finish, go into this other app and upload it there before you upload it. And then she came back to me and said, Ma, I said, listen, all of it is out there for you. You want to look like that, that's fine. But be comfortable in the truth that you're putting out there. You know, there is the truth people show outside, and there's the truth that we keep to ourselves. And that is the one that is real. So it's always important that you keep that out there. In terms of when I transitioned as an actor to being a producer, IK also was there. The producer thing happened for like me, Ike, and Uche. Well, Uche and Ike, them were kind of doing it before I came back from the UK and all of that. But when we transitioned as a team, and this is what I will say right now, if you choose to do this, the quicker you find a team of people that you can work with and you trust, who brings something to the table, your career will grow. It is unbelievable. So, IK Edits, please let me boost his side hustle. He
Go on, go
also
on, go
side acts as well. I cannot. I wouldn't suggest you cast him in a leading role, but you know, he's a great director. He's a great producer. Uche is a great, you know, actor, producer, and at the time also was honing a lot of distribution skills. So was great. Me and then could write. Again, there was something all three of us shared. IK writes, Uche writes, I write. As in, and we create stories that work within a budget. And yes, IK, you're a great actor. And so and I act, I sing, I have a thing where I see a picture so I can tell you. And then I am able to invest in stories in my mindset as in characters. So, and I write. So together as a team, we could just sit down and say, okay, we have only 3 million. We want to shoot 2 films. How do we do it? And Uche has equipment. So, or when we don't have equipment, we go to people we know who have for a lesser amount. And so we say to ourselves, okay, the 2 leading roles, we'll find one guy that we like, who is a friend, or a younger guy that we can boost. And then we'll say, Uche will play this role, Chika will play this role. And that's it. I'm not joking. And then we will then do subsequent other characters who we thought that's what we would audition for. And it helped us. So we've all grown strength by strength. So if I'm traveling for a period and Ike wants to run some stories by me, we can do 3 scripts in a sitting overnight. We would sit down and I would voice scene by scene. Uche Jumbo's brother, Nelson Jumbo, I remember his first script ever. I did it scene by scene, casted before I left for the UK. So the thing again is knowing your strengths. Know your strengths, know your team's strengths. And I believe for Ike and then Ike and I go on also. And so it doesn't have to be every time I'm around. That's when we work. Ike works with other people. Uche works with other people. I do the same. But when I'm around, we try to work together and achieve things that we know we can achieve together. And you know, Ike and I also work together on my film. We do. So those are things we work together on films that he's making. He'll come back to me and say, oh, I've made this film. What do you think? And I say, dude, you need to delete 10 scenes, reshoot 5, remove this person, cut out this person. And, you know, some people might be listening to that and say, now your film, how can you tell him that? But you see the difference with when you have a team that you listen to and you trust their instincts is that you know for a fact that they're not leading you down the wrong path. I can trust me like that, trust him like that. And then he says to me, okay, so what should we do? And we fix it. Those films go on to be one of the films that we make, you know, that cusps, it grows and goes. And then we think, we should have planned to do a part 2, you know? But yeah, that's the team spirit there. So I would say getting a team. It doesn't have to be people you know. Finding people who understand your drive and where you're going to work with outside of whatever else you do is good. And I advise every young filmmaker, if you're a young actor, you're not getting roles, it's time for you to start thinking about making short films where you're acting in it. You know, a lot of people, if you look at Fast and Furious, there was a time when, what's his name, wasn't getting any roles. Vin Diesel, Brian has just reminded me. There's a time when Vin Diesel, the only thing he was getting was where he would balk and fight one person. There's no emotion, doesn't get the girls. He's always the evil character. My dude thought, hell no. No. So first of all, he did the evil guy who became good thing. What was the one he did with the funny eyes? And then after that, he started doing Fast and Furious. Check out everybody he did Fast and Furious with. He's still doing it with them. And that franchise, we're at 10 now. It hasn't ended. They've taken out a part of it. And Jason Statham and The Rock are doing it. They're still part of that. So that is, look at The Rock, for instance. The Rock is a child who was born into a family of wrestlers okay? He could have stayed as a wrestler, but that he wanted more. He owns a production company now called 7 Bucks. Go check out the films he has made. It favors him. He found out at some point that any film he makes with Kevin Hart works. Have you noticed the films they're releasing?
Yeah.
It's all about understanding the system. Know where your strength is. Find people who make you better and grow.
Wow, Chika, you have again, I think you have struck a very powerful chord in terms of finding a team, because sometimes there is the I wouldn't call it the delusion of thinking that I might just be able to rough this alone, or this is because it's my passion, so I should just go by myself. I think the aspect of finding people who share the same energy and the same vibe with you, is really, really important. And that's something that you have said so succinctly this evening. I just want to spend another maybe 2 minutes just to talk about, because some people here, again, I'll give some context. The objective of this group is for learning and bonding, especially for people who are in this industry. And people might be here meeting each other for the first time. We've been on the semester for about 6 weeks now. I just need them to understand the importance of working with the right team. Because if you find the right set of people who sort of understand your vibe, you can go much further than trying to do it by yourself.
Well, I will say
so
one
maybe
thing
you
before you ask your question. I say this to my students, whether physically or online. Can you hear me?
It was freezing for a bit.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Go on, please.
So I say this, and I say this without fear or favor. Everybody who has made it in this industry worldwide had to work with a team. Steven Spielberg only knows how to say action, close up, outshot. Listen to any documentary made by Steven Spielberg. He says he only made this name because he realized he chose the right team. He stuck with them. Quentin Tarantino became Quentin Tarantino because he stuck with the right team. He found a set of people and he worked with them, stuck with them. The problem we have fundamentally is that most of the time when you pay somebody 100K or 50K to do a job for you, when you can afford to pay the person 1 million, you go and hire somebody else. The mistakes in that is that when, for something reason, it rocks. It's a business. Sometimes you grow, sometimes there's a middle place, and sometimes you fall, and then you go up. It is that you go back to that person, and that person doesn't want to work with you anymore, or there's a bitterness now, so they don't bring 100% to it. The Rodriguez brothers are brothers, but they work with specific actors, specific people, and that is why every time you see them shoot Salma Hayek, what's his name? Desperado, Antonio Banderas, it doesn't matter what they're shooting. Those two actors are constant from when they were nobody to where they are right now. The next person beside you is your lights person, is your sound person, is your actor, is your producer, because you don't know. They might have money, but they don't have any idea about, or you might not know anything and they just want somebody who they will learn together with. I always tell people, you don't lose anything by saying, hi, my name is blah, 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 and get to know each other. Unfortunately, there's the coronavirus thing. When I started acting, we never had like an acting hub, but anybody who knows that we had Winnie's, we had ECOWAS, we had Woodhouse. So it was the trajectory was every day people went there and spent time. But you have social media, you have WhatsApp now. Talk to people, call people. You have Zoom, you have all of this networking where you can see people, discuss. Try to do that, because you see, there is something missing. No matter how much money you have or how much experience you have, if you do not, that human contact, you start to lose it in whatever you're creating. Creativity does not exist in infinity without a process.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chika. Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you joined us in the course of this, you are You have been listening to Andrea Chukwu, and you can tell that she's the fight. She's the lion. She's.
Naboski has a different set. I'm not there.
Wow. So I'm going to go into another thing, just a slight detour before we head back into the main segment.
Yeah.
Talking about a side hustle, and that for you, your side hustle was music, right? So are you saying that practicing as a filmmaker or a creative person,
Dr. Bell's high, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that practicing majorly isn't financially lucrative? That you need something else to support it? Is that your opinion?
I am saying unless you have your money, you've built your team, or you know who you're working with, it's not that it's a business. Every business has a starting point. When Facebook started, anybody who had the early Facebook knows what it used to look like and what it looks like now. There is a lot of partnership now. When Instagram started, everybody knows what it started with and what it. I'm saying when you start, unless you have savings to be paying your rent, IK is here, he understands what I'm saying. It's sustainable when you have a plan. So if you're going to make a film in the month of October, right? You're not going to depend on that film to pay your rent or pay your feeding for October, nor for November, nor for December. The minimum it will take you to finish shooting the film, then do a distribution contract with different distributors, depending on what the content is, unless you already have all of these platforms agreeing to your script, again, depending on the content. Then you cannot depend on the film you made in October to pay you anytime earlier than January.
Right.
Okay? Now, again, it will depend on the content. If you're doing a show that goes on YouTube that is prepaid for by whoever, say you guys now find a benefactor in the church who says, yeah, yes, I have 20 million to spend on a YouTube 13 episode series of XYZ. I want a specific actor, which tends to happen with most benefactors anyways. And they will say, oh, I want Ngozi Nwosu from Fuji House of Commotion. Or I've had one that came out before and said, oh, I want Rabiu. I actually, we were in a meeting and the person goes, I want Rabiu, Benro, and Jumoke, and then I want Chief and Peace. That's not our name. You know, but he would only pay for a show if the five of us were involved. So you might get those things. This is where your relationship, because you're new in the industry, this is where that relationship comes through. This is when you call on IK. This is when you call on myself, or you call on any other guest that you have been able to kind of create a rapport with. And this is when you use that relationship to create those things. So that kind of content has been prepaid for. So it has paid you the salary from now till the end of the month. Do you see where I'm going to? But when you're making a film that you're going to sell for yourself, a film takes you, even if you shoot it in 1 week, but ideally, you always leave room for miscellaneous or mistakes or accidents or a day when it rains the whole day. IK will tell you, at some point with True to Love, we had to shoot in the rain. Then the rain stopped. I had to buy a tanker water for us to make rain because rain now refused to fall again. So you have stuff like that. So you must, the idea is you must create room depending on the content. If you're shooting, if what you're creating is a talk show, and you have somebody who has paid for it, or you have is a skincare talk show, or it's just a lively talk show, and you have Origin, and Origin has said, oh yeah, we agreed to sponsor this show if we're part of sponsoring this show, and we will only pay 5 million. And you think that for the show to stay, to do your adverts and all of that, you need a second person advertising. It can maybe be the church saying, okay, yeah, if the content is Christian-like, we will give another 5 million to support. You have all your money to create your show there. So you can go rent your light and all of it. Do you get where I'm coming from? Or Origin will say, yeah, we're going to pay 10 million, but it strictly has to be an Origin produce show. We are the permanent sponsor. So it would depend on your contracts. It would depend on the content. It would depend on what the transition is. If it is a short film, are you making a host of short films to just show your talent or put it online? Or is it a short film that are you targeting rape? So there are NGOs that pay for these films, or there are film festivals that you enter it into a contest. If you win, you can win a lot of money, or they could decide to take you on, and there's a lot of other projects. Again, depending on the content, the transition you want to follow.
Okay, thank you very much. 3 more questions and then I'll open it up to the house. Okay. Question number 3 is, at what point does a creative person need to incorporate? So, I mean, register a business, start to operate with that business name, you know, regardless of the field that you're practicing. And can you share a bit of your experience?
When you say filmmaker, as an actor, you don't necessarily have to incorporate anything. What you need to just do is keep building your brand and identify. So I tell most of my students, sometimes I go on Facebook or Instagram, your name is, say for instance, as your name is and I will now go on and I'll see DIP_2zone42. Nobody is searching for that. Nobody. Or Superfly hot sexy girl _ no time for this. Nobody, no producer is busy typing that. They have no time for that. So you're a brand as an actor. Start as you mean to go. Don't introduce yourself as Chika Chukwu or Andrea Chika Chukwu and whatever. I can always say I'm Chika Chukwu because Chika Chukwu is in my name. Yeah? Agreed? In the Nigerian aspect, when I started my career, it made more sense to stick with 2 names. I wasn't going to do a KOK. Kanayo seems to be long. It was the Mostus. If you check in the file, it was Modestus something. And then he cut that down to KOK. To Kanayo, oh no, he said it before. And then he had to cut it to Kanayo, oh Kanayo. It was a struggle. So if there's anything I learned from that, it was that the smaller the name, the more memorable it is. And that is if your name is like that. Don't go, you know, change only what you think is actually necessary. I remember when I was doing my TV host show, I was encouraged to change my name and all of that. I tried to change Andrea to Andrave because it was a night show, it was a music show, it was supposed to be all of that. So I was Andrave for a long time on TV. So anybody who grew up watching Super Screen and watched Andrave, that was my name. Do you understand? So it was one of those things. But in the age that we're in now, it's always good to represent yourself correctly. But if you're starting out as a producer, IK will tell you this, and I would say the same thing. First thing, pick a name, go make sure that it is not registered, you know, and getting a company name is not that expensive if you do it in the right transition. And you use that name, make sure it is the production house name that you want to use long term. Don't rush it. If not, work with somebody else who already has until you're sure. If you know you don't have money to register a production company right now, it's okay to find somebody who already has one that you can work with until you get there. So again, it's not eminently important. As important as it is, it depends on your pocket. You know, cut your cloth according to the size of the material you have.
All right, so question 2, I'm counting down. Mm-hmm. I see that you package content for festivals, right? That's one of the
Well, I've worked in a lot of film festivals. Anybody who's been to any film festival knows that I worked with AFRIF for 5 years. I worked with the AMA Awards for 7 years. So generally, I have worked with a lot of filmmakers, and that has transitioned to meeting filmmakers from across the world or different areas. And would I say I package? Well, I know people in film. That's the thing. And I can advise if you're looking to go into making films that go to, if you're looking for a festival theme film, But yeah, it is something that I always also advise young filmmakers, or if you're just starting out, even if it is short films only that you're entering, picking a topic that matters, focusing on keeping the budget small, and delivering your message. Yeah, I
Okay.
I do a bit of consulting with that aspect. Yes.
Okay. So my question is tied to, so what's the business side of festivals for a filmmaker?
Would this be as an actor or as a producer?
You can treat it as broadly as you can within 2 minutes.
Well, I don't know. I just went to film festivals in the beginning because for me, it's a great place to network. And at the time, there wasn't a lot going on in Nigeria. You had maybe Amaki Igwe's one that went on, which was Bob TV. And then you had Fidelis Duca's, but there wasn't a lot, really, where there was a lot of networking that was going on and people were actually being taught stuff. So I traveled a lot. So I was doing a lot of traveling. So I used to go to the Berlinale always for a while, up until 3 years ago. And I used to go to LA. So it would depend on your pocket as an actor and what you're chasing and what you think you're gonna get. As a producer, I advise it. Like right now in Nigeria, there's so many film festivals. And I also used to go to a lot of African ones. I used to go to Burkina Faso, to Ouagadougou. I used to go to one in Ghana. So there's a lot of film festivals also cropping up in Africa that you can go to. There's the one in Cameroon. And film festivals are good for you because when you go there, you meet other film festival, you meet other producers, you network. The good thing is if you're going to a film festival as a filmmaker, it's always good to take your body of work because you never know. I remember going to Cannes. I'm not going to call the producer's name because he was selling other people's work. Don't let me not shake that table. But I remember going to Cannes and some Nigerian some Nigerian producer, director at the time, who hadn't worked for a long time. I noticed he had all these meetings with people from China and people from India. And one time they came to the Nigerian booth and they were looking for him. And I think Afif was there that year and we're doing like a party. Go to as many film festivals as possible. It helps a great deal. That's what I'm saying. And then I remember there's a lot in South Africa. There's a list. Again, Google is your friend. If you look these things up, you will find the ones that are for beginners or small budgets that you can go to around you that is actually working. And I remember, and they go, oh, they've agreed to his price. Can we tell him they've agreed for his price they called a particular film. And I knew that film didn't belong to him. And I said, oh, okay. And then I kind of called him out on it and then eventually told the person. But you see, the person who owned the film had never been to any film festival and didn't think there was any money to be made. And there was, I think back then, there was $7,500 being paid for content that they were going to use in China alone. And some other person was taking that money. Obviously, they settled eventually amongst themselves. But the point is, if you do not, your content isn't meant for Nigeria alone. It's not meant for Africa alone. Travel more. Again, I know that knowing our country, Father Lord, please help us. This money problem, this country's problem, is in your hand. We're begging. Please, cannot always continue to suffer like this. It's been a while, but okay, amen. And then I say, if you can, and then you can do it as a group. There was a time when we used to do it as a group. And then it depends also on who you're working with. I remember when I was working with AMER Awards, we also there were a lot of our judges came also from international film festivals. So, which meant that most of the time we got invited to these festivals. And so, and then I always had the opportunity to pick actors that I thought needed either the exposure or it would do them good, or actors or producers or directors. And I used to come up with a list and we would go as a group. I remember we took a bunch to Prague and all of that. So there is so much out there, so much. And then you go on, people like Kunle Afolayan horned all those kind of travels, and we know who Kunle Afolayan is now. You know what his work is like now. Back then, Kunle had just done, I think it wasn't a Rakbada. There was the film, the Yoruba film, it was strictly Yoruba, and he won at the AMA Award for a language film. And let's just say the rest is history. This is outside of who his father is, but at that time he was only making Yoruba films. So this is what I mean. So if you have the opportunity or you save up for it, you think you can go to as many film festivals as you can. And at least go to one. And the thing isn't just about registering and going to a film festival and just seeing the films. Go to one of the either parties or content presentations where there is an actual networking process going on, where you exchange cards, make a card for yourself. It's so easy right now to make one, or you create something online where everybody exchanges their details and you shoot them yours. It is so important in the life that we live today, and you never know.
Thank you very much, Chika. Final question. This one has A and B. So final question A is, what would you say was your big break?
And in then what, TV or film?
Generally, in terms of ranking.
TV, it would have to be Fuji House. With music, it was working with Idris Abdul Karim. You know, the minute we hit the scene with mommy, Ewawolaide, Ati Becky, Wono Femaja, we were the biggest thing out of Africa at the time. You know, if you went to Lekki Sunsplash, if you went to a music show, Idris wasn't there and they didn't play a Meiji. You know, every Friday we had Lagbaja's place. So with music, it was Idris. With TV, I will have to merge it. With TV, I'd say Fuji House of Commotion.
Okay. Okay, final question from me, and you just touched a bit on it as though you had like a crystal ball looking into my mind. And I was going to ask about living in the UK and living in Nigeria, you know, in terms of this journey into creativity, filmmaking, and content. Are there marked differences?
For me, I haven't. Well, let me just put it out. For me, here in the UK, I have friends who are actors here who are not Nigerian. Or I have people who I've worked with people here. I've worked with the BBC here, but mainly behind the scenes, doing voiceovers and all of that. I have never actually chased up acting here. And there's a reason for that. First of all, the UK isn't like the United States. There isn't the Black African or Black American thing that you have going on in America, where there's Black content being made. And here, Black actors struggle quite a lot, which is why Chiwetel Ejiofor had to move to America, which is why the other guy, David Oyelowo, had to move, which is why if you look at even young, what's his name, that did Star Wars, he actually had to move with his manager to LA to start getting roles. And again, it's about age. A lot of the acting here is theater, okay? A lot of the acting for the UK is theater and TV. So unless you're willing to head out to Soho or London, I don't live in London, okay? I live in a small town called Wellingborough. I love it here. I haven't lived here for almost, well, now going a year. But before that, I lived in Watford. And as close as Watford was to London, I'm not that age where I'm cusping. I don't like noise. I don't want any noise. I don't want any disturbances. So maybe when I was in college, yeah, even when Jude came to London to do a play for like 3 months, that time I was going to Soho. We were doing voiceover, doing BBC jobs and all of that. Amake, I remember saying that time also, she was in BBC. A lot of us were doing all of that. But you get to a particular age and there's something in your career that you decide on the transition. So am I going to go up to Soho to try to get an audition at the moment? No. I'm quite happy producing, but in the past 3 years or so, I've had a personal step back because my mom wasn't well. Mom was diagnosed with cancer twice and was in the hospital a lot. So for me, it didn't make sense. It would be awkward if I was out there making jollity whilst my mom was ill. But thankfully, I'm thankful she got all the best care that could have been afforded, and she's healing, she's well, up and about. And this year was supposed to be my dive back in. Me and IK's plans this year, we were supposed to whip it. But hey, coronavirus had its own plan. So, hey, they say we plan and God laughs. So at whatever time is, we figure it out, we'll figure it out. But yes, I do have plans of creating content here in the UK. That is, so the thing that is missing mostly, every now and then you hear about content, and then you notice that that is missing. Most of what is missing here is content for Black. And I'm not doing it all because I want to sell it in the UK. It will be, some of the content I'll make here might even be made in Igbo. But the idea is the same way you see Spanish people make films in America and it's in Spanish, or you see them making in the UK and it's in Spanish, or you see Chinese people do stuff and it's in Chinese and it's still content that sells. So the whole idea is to make content that transitions irrespective of the culture, which is my culture, which is what I will be making it surrounding.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been listening to Chika Chukwu for right about an hour, and it has been very, very interesting. Thank you so much, Chika, for your time. We're going to open it up for questions right now. I'm sure people might have issues burning in their hearts that they want to ask you. So the floor is open. Mm-hmm. If you have a question for Chika, please, let's go.
Okay, whilst they're asking questions, I will check the chat because I know everybody's just been saying something. Emmanuel, thank you. Flo, yes, you're a good actor. Okay, trust your team, get a team you trust. Dr. Bells, yeah, shoot your shot anytime. Yeah, go to as many film festivals as possible. Yep, totally. Yeah.
Okay, guys, so let's have this questions. Did I mute everyone? Or maybe I did. I may have at some point. Or if you want to raise your hand or post it in the chat.
If they raise their hand, you can then unmute that person or tell them to unmute themselves and then ask their question. Because some people might not want to type it, or it depends. Yeah, so feel free to unmute whoever has a question.
Okay. Yes, Adenike, please go ahead, ask your question.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, hi.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Dikpo. And good evening, Chika, for that presentation. It's quite nice. I've learned a lot from just listening to you, you know, talking about your story and how you've made a lot of strides. But then I would like to ask in terms of partnership, because what I know is collaboration is actually the future right now. Mm-hmm. So there is no organization that can categorically say that they've arrived because of the disruption that is happening. Mm-hmm. And whether small or big, you still need to collaborate to stay relevant and really to stay relevant. Let me just end it there. But then as someone that is starting up in movie, or even maybe not movie directly, how do we go about collaborating? So this is what I have in my head. Okay, do you share a stake of your business with someone? Do you work per project? You know, you say that, you work with other people, Uche Jumbo works with other people. But then how do you balance it when you have something that it has to be all of you that, you know, that needs to do it, and you know, they are busy with other people, you know. So what elements even do you look out for in the people that, aside the fact that okay, they have the skills, what other emotional or mental elements do you need to say, and even spiritual, because this is a church group, to say that, okay, the two of us can really work together, because the Bible says the two can't work together except they agree. So how do you go about,
Okay, so I first of all, let me put it out there. IK is still here, so bless his heart, he will confirm. With every project, in as much as we work together, each project, so when it's my project, I'm funding it. So the money comes from my pocket. Working with IK doesn't mean he doesn't get paid. IK doesn't play with his money. So let's just put it out there. He first of all tells you that, he has children and all of that. Neither does Uche. Uche will tell you, Matthew, Uche will tell you that Matthew likes food, and you can see he's an American child, and that she's married to an American, and they pay taxes. So do something. It might not be 100% what they would charge out there, but it's the same thing with me. IK knows. IK brings something to me. It doesn't mean I will not hands-on immediately do whatever. Once I'm done, and IK goes, yeah, and now we need to shoot this. Chika, I say, this is how much you're going to pay me. And they say, okay, let's do it, and I'll transfer it to your account in beads. I say, Meve. It's not possible. You know where I live. How much is tickets to come back to where we're going to? Let's talk money, and you see, and because we respect each other, and quite frankly, I think it comes down to respect. Is respect and being authentic to yourself, to be truthful, to know that whether you're asking for something that is realistic or not. When you say collaboration, you have to define the type of collaboration you're referring to. If you co-produce with somebody individually and you people have equal rights, it means that you have to bring to the table equal terms, which is equal funding or whatever. Because when that doesn't happen, what tends to happen is, unfortunately, in the Nigerian perspective, is what I can give it to you of. Outside of Nigeria, it would work because the terms of a contract is held up. I have had a bank pull out of the terms of contract after something was already done. And if you go to court with that bank, you people will stand there. They have money to stay in the courts forever. So what did we end up doing? We ended up taking the money that they offered instead of, and at that, we were kind of running at a loss at this point in time, but it was done and the project was done. So we cut our losses and moved on and didn't work with them anymore. You understand? So again, collaboration, you would have to identify and clarify what your collaboration is. I tend to say to new actors, if for some reason you're talking about as an actor, it's not so much so as collaborating, it is you doing, cutting your teeth on work and all of that. Like IK tends to know. I know that there are directors and producers who take actors, new actors, and say, oh, I will give you a role, but I cannot pay you. Now, I tend to say to my students, only do that if you're comfortable with doing it. Don't say, they pressured you the way they were talking to you, say you've not started. No. Let your yay be your yay and your nay be your nay. Don't agree to shoot for no money. And then when they sit down to share food and you see how they gave this person chicken, you start to run your mouth. There's nothing desirable about that. You must always know how to identify with what it is you want to do. So, and if somebody is offering you no money and you say you can't do it, stick to it, it's fine. There's nothing wrong. There will be a lot of no's and there will be a lot of, oh, I can't pay you, until you find somebody who can pay you. IK knows, even when it's an extra. I have had extras come to a project that IK and I are doing. And the person says, oh, no, I just did it because I wanted to work with you. I said to her, me, never. This money, I finished taking it. You can take it, put fuel in your car for 1 week. It's okay. Call it dash to eat food. Whatever, as a big person that you are. But this is the money on the budget. You're collecting it. I don't owe you. Because the dynamics, it's a bit rough there in the industry. Okay, I don't care.
Dibo.
Go for it, please.
Can I jump in on this a little bit?
Go for it, sir.
Okay. Chika, fire. You're the real Ndaboski, like Dibo said. Thank you so much. Even myself, I'm actually taking notes. Some of the things that you're sharing are actually like quite mind-blowing, and if not for anything, at least a good reminder for some of the things that one needs to always keep reminding oneself of how to go far in this industry. Question about collaboration. So I think that one of the biggest challenges that we have in Nigeria is that, to be honest, we all have trust issues.
Simple. And the terms are never clear.
We always have trust issues. And people are never transparent. And I think that also from the trust issue, because, so two things are very important: trust, vulnerability. You have to learn how to be vulnerable as a person, to actually be able to exploit, to be able to maximize partnerships. So you can't go into partnerships, for instance, trying to hide something, or, no, it can't work. You have to come clean. You have to let your partner, whoever you're proposing the partnership with, know what is your strength and then what is your weakness. And once they know that you have this strength and you're coming to them for their strength, then you're in the right for greatness, because you can't be partnering with somebody who has the same strengths as you. Then there's no point, Again, learn how to be vulnerable. All these things I hear people say, oh, what if they cheat me? Or what if they run away with my idea? Come on. If you're actually a creative person, you should know that where the idea came from.
There is a well of it.
We are all children of God. We know that God will continue to give you ideas. In fact, I don't know if I live 1,000 years, I'm not sure that I'll be able to explore all the ideas that have already passed through this my small brain. So I can't now say, oh, I don't want to partner because, what if they cheat me? Let them cheat you. So
learn from it. You see, the thing is that life is so, there are things, people go through life trying not to make mistakes. That is a bad way to live your life. Make a mistake, learn from it, because it will make you better. It will also teach you. So the next business or the next opportunity that comes your way, you are quick to note where that would slide. And then you can find a way to deal with it. IK knows I don't hold grudges. I work with people, and if for some reason they agreed terms, there is something that is agreed, you skip on me on it, I back away from you. We will see outside, we will greet, but I will never, as a principle, work with you ever again. Does that mean I don't wish you well? No. Will I not celebrate you outside when you, fabulous, but I, Chika Chukwu, will never be part of that team again, because you see, when I work with people, I bring 100%. I bring my everything. The day you show me that you do not appreciate that or you undermine it, is the day I begin to understand that we both don't understand each other. And I never leave anything open to chance or assumptions. I discuss it. I lay my cards on the table and I say, you and I have worked 4 years. At some point you told me we were being owed. We're not being owed. I have it on good authority that we have been paid XY. We have been paid XY million. And I have it on authority that you shared with your family. And then you start to say, oh, on the table that we are in, I'm not even going to argue. What always comes to my mind is, you have explained yourself to me. God bless you. And I walk away.
Bye.
You see me, it has always worked for me, because it doesn't, that's, in Igbo, I'll just say, that is so long, 3 months max. The next session I start to work will double up on everything. Because guess what? I will be 100% to the person as well. But I will share that, given my history, these are things I cannot work without. Is it okay by you? If it is, we work. It's not. I tell you, I understand it, I respect it, but it will not work. I walk away.
Exactly.
You must have the principle to know when to walk away or when to turn away from something.
Exactly. And then the last thing about partnerships that I want to add is, so yeah, we always need money. Like Chika rightly said, I will tell you clearly, I have kids, I have to feed them, and I want to own a private jet someday. It's not going to fall from the sky. So we definitely need money. Yeah. We definitely need money, but you must learn how not to put money first. It's almost like a contradiction. So you need money, but then you don't work for money.
Negotiation, your negotiating strength is based off of relationships. I've been saying this from the beginning. You cannot negotiate a collaboration when you do not have a strength to collaborate. If you're a new actor or a new producer, you cannot go to an actor to say you want to collaborate with them. That's a wrong way to start. Find somebody who has a relationship, who you have a relationship with, that you can then ask, how do I go about this? You might need to work with the person. The person might say to you, oh, well, I will be your consultant for this, which you will need to pay me for, but to work with you on this project, I will collect the money, bless you, after the project has been sold, but I will also need to get this credit. It will depend. Again, it's your negotiation, and it cannot be you. If you're just starting, it can't be you. Most of the time, you will need to build, it will have to be who you have built trust with. Again, it can be you, and you get sucker punched. You learn from it in the sense that people might use the opportunity to overcharge you and all of that, and that's because you decided to go it alone. But you have to accept the responsibilities that come with it as well. Okay? I think I've said it. Flo, if you have any more, I think I've said it all. I'm seeing questions popping out here. Let's start dealing with them before I have to go.
Yeah, so
yeah, go ahead and deal with the questions, Chika.
Okay. So I see Dr. Obels here says, have you ever had to produce, direct, act at the same time? If yes, how tedious is it? Flo knows, I can know the answer to this question. It is manic. It is manic. And if you see me working as a producer, actor, I can tell you, I'm AD, but it's crazy, but I love it. I love it because it gives me an adrenaline push. I love it because it's something I'm good at doing, but I am also great at planning. I can tell you this. Yeah. So I don't, you say when they say, no go they do pass yourself. I'm very good to accept this is what I do, this is what I don't know. Always know when to withdraw and give. So I never hire below standard. IK knows that. I rather pay the money there and not pay myself than hire somebody that every day I have to talk to. And I fire and hire. IK knows that. So if you come and you're a PA on my set and you think it's a time to drive around, wake up, or to pull a fast one, quickly, goodbye. You're an actor, you come to my set, you're not delivering, you think it is there, you come to learn your lines. In Nigeria, when we are not shooting in Hollywood with 1 million, I give you a one warning, second one, and I tell you very professionally, unfortunately, we cannot work together, you need to leave my set. I always have 4 actors cast already on my phone, on my dialogue, waiting to be, and we've worked before and I called up somebody on the same day because somebody who was supposed to show up didn't show up, and I continued working. But that is based off of my relationship. So yes, I have done that before. It's manic, but I plan. So I never use again, because you're working with actors, especially if you're working with actors who you're working, half relationship, half money. I always, first of all, shoot their parts. I rationalize how I work. And I treat them the way I want to be treated if I was on their project. That's the answer to that.
Okay, Chika, can I jump in a bit on that?
Yeah. Whilst I read the next question to myself. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Dr. Obels, I mean, everything Chika said, definitely I agree. I just want to add that being able to do that actually comes with a lot of competence.
And experience. Sorry, I forgot to say, yes, that is over years of it. That is over.
That kind of competence only comes with experience.
Yes.
Yes. So if you're starting out in the industry, it's not a good idea at all. At all. But if you have the right experience and competence, why not? You can go ahead.
Okay. Dr. Obel still asked, as a producer, do you make a crew and actor sign contracts? Yes. Without a doubt. I don't care. You're a PA, you're picking brush, you're delivering food, you sign a contract. Because if you cook and everybody on my set has diarrhea, I can't blame the PA serving the food. It's your food. A contract also means that when your content transitions internationally for distribution, you don't have a problem. Okay?
Yeah. And also, apart from the fact that the content, the contract, because the problem with contract in Nigeria is people be like, oh, but if somebody defaults, you know, you don't want to go to court and spend time chasing something small. Yeah, that's true. But also a contract protects you, you know, so say an accident happens on your set, you want to be able to explain what Mr. B is doing on your set. You know, because the family can come and say you kidnapped their child.
And know the limits to your indemnity. That is if you have insurance.
Exactly.
If you actually don't have insurance on set, then your contract should state that whatever happens to them whilst they're working for you, you are not to be held for any indemnity. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which means the onus is on you to make sure also that in order not to get indemnified, which means if somebody goes and crashes into a glass table, did they do it knowingly or they just were not looking? Or was your glass table a hazard in the beginning? So you always, those lines, but make sure that your contract is clear. People tend to think that when you say contract, it means leaves and leaves of paper. This is 2 pages or 1 front and back. In that, you can have all of these things. In that, you can have all of these things. But again, if somebody like Netflix or Hulu wants to buy your film, you don't have these cleared out already, they're not going to do it. Let me just put that out there. If Hulu wants to buy a product, they're not going to do it if you don't have these contracts. If Netflix, I don't know the transition from, but I know Hulu doesn't do it. There's a few Mexican, you know, Puerto Rican companies that will not do that if you assure them. Some of them might just tell you that they need photocopies or copies. They just need to be sure that they also don't get any kind of indemnity. Okay, I've answered the questions here. People, should I go?
Please don't go, because I have a question.
Okay. Hey, Buki, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Hi, Chika. Okay, so my name is Buki Garba. Lovely. I've had a wonderful time listening to you, actually.
Thank you.
You know, yeah, there's sometimes you listen to someone and you're like, wow. So thank you so much for giving your time and for the wealth of experience that you've just brought to the table, and just, you know, you just dropped it and dusted your shoulders and walked off. So thank you so much for that. Looking at the collaboration between you and IK, it's very obvious that you guys are friends, because even the way you're, you know, both talking, you know, coming in between each other and talking, you can see that spirit of teamwork. You can see the respect that has built. So it's not just something you guys are saying, you can see it. And, you know, in filmmaking, it's not just saying something, it's seeing it. So, I mean, kudos to you guys. Teamwork works. It shows in what you guys just did now, honestly. It really does. Now, to my question. You spoke about festivals, and you spoke about consulting for films that people could take to festivals, be it whether short films or long films or whatever. Now, when you say consulting for it, is it from looking for the right stories to the whole process, or is it when the filmmaker has their film and brings it to you and you say, oh, take it to this kind of festival or that kind of festival? I'd like you to please expatiate a bit more on that. Thank you very much.
All right, it will depend, Buki. So very quickly, I'll say it's just like the my coaching classes. Like sometimes people go to IK and they want a coach, and IK says to me, oh, can you set up a class? So now I have private clients. So I will say, oh, okay, tell me how many people you have. They want a group class, and I will tell you how much it's going to cost and how much are they going to pay as a group or what. So with consulting for films, it will depend what the client is looking for. Is the client looking for a consultation before they make the story? Are they looking for a consultation throughout the process? Each thing is, there are different stages. So it depends on what you want paid information for. Or there are people who will say, oh, they went online, they've shot this short film. Can you advise them on what they should do now with it, and all of that? And again, that's a different payment plan. So it would depend, again, it would depend on the creative body and what they're looking for. So I know people who genuinely just want to just dip their toe out there in making short films and just going out there and registering for film festivals. Now, when I say film festivals, you do know that there are film festivals out there that are free film festivals to enter your content. And there are film festivals that are paid film festivals to enter your content. There's a variety. There's a film festival that is dedicated to teenagers. There is film festivals that are dedicated to women, a bunch of them. There are film festivals that champion youths, younger people. And then there's a vast majority of film festivals that is for everybody, but with different genres. So it will depend. Again, what are you trying to say with this story? Then if it is just, oh, you're making your film and you're making a proper feature length and you want to just put it out there to see how many bites you get or anything. I always say, if it's your first time, do it right. Because once you do it right, the next process for you flows. So what is the story? Like Ike and I would discuss a story and why we want to do the story. What is the story? And how do we get you a script within a budget? Okay? And this would be bearing in mind that the person also needs to know where the funding for the feature length or for the short film will come from. So if somebody comes to me right now and say, oh, I have 3 million, no, and I've had those kind of people. I've had somebody who said to me that they have 5 million naira and they want to shoot a film about a Nigerian girl who is in the States that wins the lottery. And I didn't even bother to go too far. You know, it was a one-off consult. I'd collected my money, but then I just felt really bad. And I told her straight up, you cannot achieve that film that you're telling me right now with 5 million. I will tell you someone like Ike has connections with an island that is in that side of the world. So I will tell Ike, oh, we need to go to this here island, people, and we want to stay there for 1 week and shoot a high-flying girl, which means we're going to rent one of those nice-looking houses overlooking either the river or a lake and all of that. Your 5 million is gone by the time you fly your crew, or even when you book. No, it's the truth. It's not realistic. And then the person who wants to produce it also wants to be the lead actor, and is an inexperienced actor. Problem. Ding, 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 ding. Because I've sat down with you already, and we've tried out a few monologues, and I can tell that you want to be a great actor, but I can tell you that it won't work for this film that you want to shoot next week. It's not possible. You can take a smaller role, which is what I always advise. If you're trying your hands as a producer, but also you love acting, and you start small. Get a coach that helps you gradually build the confidence, explain to you the processes of acting. That way, as you transition, you also will be able to tell yourself as you're watching yourself, oh, this is what would have gone wrong. And then you would see another actor do it. And then when I told her, she said, this Nollywood film that people will shoot with 1 million. I said, you think Mo shot Wedding Party with 1 million? Really? It's true. You think Ike shot Dr. Meccan with 1 million? I can tell you that it was more than 10 million. These are the issues on the ground. So there is a lot. Again, I would say if you're a budding filmmaker, new filmmaker, don't make assumptions. You will save yourself a lot of hurt from assuming a lot of things. This film that everybody is making with 1.5, 3 million, it's not everybody's film. But I can tell you that 3 million will shoot you a film, but it will not be a film of you going to land in MM2. You want to land in MM2, drive a cruiser out and head to a co-hotel. It's not possible. But you can shoot a 3-man film. We will manage the story. If we put enough drama in it and we target a particular audience, you will get a good.
Yeah. How much did you make?
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Ike. You got cut off. Okay.
I think he was asking how much you made a particular movie or so.
No, I was just saying that to buttress what you're saying now, how much did we make Falls with? How many days did we shoot?
There you go.
Yeah, because we knew from the day I pitched the story that it was a small budget.
It was a small budget. There were only 3 actors. Everything else was imagination. Things that happen in the imaginary kingdoms. People that were
85% one location.
One place. But Unconditional was almost the same thing. Outside of the house, of the second house we went to, we shot most of it in one place. So again, these are the things that come with experience, come with who you're working with. And then I always say, and I'm not saying you have to work with me or you have to work with IK or any other person. I'm just saying be careful who you decide to go with. Sometimes people just go with people because, oh, they're known, or you've heard them say the things they can do for you. And it goes wrong. And then you start to say, all these Nollywood people. It's not all of them. It's that person you worked with. No, I'm just being clear. So, Buki, all I'm saying is the consultation you're referring to, it would depend on what the person needs. Is the person looking for a full consult, for a full project, or a full short, or a full length? Or are they looking for a specific? That would be it.
Thank you very much. Actually, you've answered my question. I have another small question, please. And that is, okay, so you and IK and Uche Jumbo are very good friends. Yeah. Now, normally in the works that you do together, do you have a gentleman's agreement together, or do you still sign agreements with one another?
Flo, have I ever given you a contract to sign?
I think
when we did True to Love, you did.
Yes.
So it will depend. True to Love, you did. I signed for Dr. Meckham. That you were directing. It will depend on the role. When he was directing a film of mine, we signed a contract, but it wasn't. I don't think. And then when we did Unconditional with Uche, we signed a contract, didn't we? It's we signed a contract, but the contract is not because of, we sign it because either the PA or whoever is on the ground to make sure those paperwork are done, bring it to you and you just sign, and that is just to cover your friend and make sure that your friend is assured. But I never distrust Uche or Flo.
Okay, that's just to ensure that all processes are in place and documentation are followed.
Exactly what I wanted to say. Yes, it will be for best practices, not for lack of trust.
Not for lack of trust, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you. You've clarified that because, sometimes, you guys have a very good relationship. As you've also mentioned, sometimes people can shoot you in the back as well.
Yeah.
You just have to take that and get up, dust yourself and move on. But I just wanted to find out. So thank you.
Yeah. Also thank you, Buki. Also to say something about partnerships and stuff like that. Again, it comes with, you build these things, they just don't happen.
You build a relationship. When I first met Flo, who he was working, when I first met IK wasn't actually, I don't think, when I met IK, he was a singer, by the way. Can I just put that out there? We were both back then spending a lot of time in the studio singing. He has a proper singing career. He was at that time on MTV and all of that. I had my video even hadn't gone live at this time. And he was working with another filmmaker and gradually became that person's editor. And then at some point, you see, again, it's also knowing when you've gotten enough experience to fly solo.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is, I think that doesn't exist a lot now for younger people, is we respected knowing each other back then, even if we were not constantly working together.
Yeah.
It didn't matter whether you were a PA or you were an actor. There was respect across the board. You did not undermine somebody because that one not be PA. I hear that these days, and there's a bit of a distaste in my mouth. Never disrespect anybody. PA today, marketer tomorrow. PA today. I'm not joking.
But you remember that I met Uche Jumbo as an editor. I was her editor.
But what I'm saying, there are directors I can call for you people now that used to serve beer at a bar where actors were working.
They will not believe.
And you will not believe it. And now they're directors. They used to sleep on a couch there. There are people who are multi-millionaires in any currency that you know as big boys that used to sleep outside on a bench and had some serious issues back then. But you don't know that story. You see, that story, that journey that we have all been through and supported each other through, that has created the friendship and the loyalty and the trust that has brought us to where we are right now. Okay, remember when we used to eat about 150? It's a small Oba plate where everybody has spoon. Can you imagine 7 people eating about 150? You know, and the most, it's me that's paying the 150 and I get only 1 spoon. But you eat with joy. Nobody's saying, "Let me buy them." How can you guys eat like that? No, because people are not grabbing spoons to eat because they are not hungry, trying to bullshit you. Everybody is hungry. So you share, because tomorrow your 150 might not be around. Another person will buy 250. Or it might be Dodo and Gizzard. Whichever one reach you, you chop, you head home. Because that might be your dinner for the day. But you see, we learn to respect each other irrespective of. And trust. To get trust. I know that people tend to think that trust happens overnight. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Trust is earned. The same way respect is earned. So you have to keep to your word. You have to be able to say this is this and do it. I know that a lot of people, we tend to get carried away with it, especially now with most of us in the church and all of that. And you think because you're doing something with your church brother or church sister, it means last, pastor will settle it now. You tell them you will pay them 70K. After you give the person 50K, then they're chasing you for this 20, like, you did them a favor. Next thing you say, the money has finished now. What can I do? And you say you will go and tell pastor, pastor, I beg, settle. I don't have money anymore. I begged her. I begged her to forgive me. No, I didn't do it intentionally. That is a silly move. Can I just tell you, there's nothing Christian about that. Anybody try that shit with me, I'm done with you and you will pay the full amount. Don't ever do that to anybody. That is not a Christian faith thing. I think we all get confused right now about hiding in God's name and all. Call a spade a spade. If you intend to give somebody 50K, 100K, 200K, tell them the truth. The truth is that whoever gives you 50K and tell you they will pay you 20 later has no intention of giving you 20. In this our devalued naira, so it's not true. Speak the truth. You know, don't be ashamed of it. Like IK knows. I will tell you as it is. You might not like it, and I always come from a place of love. So it is never, to draw down on what you're doing or to make you feel shit. No, I always, whatever I say to you is to amplify, to increase. So you must also be careful also how you critique. Are you critiquing to increase, to improve? Or are you critiquing the person to bring them down, to make them feel less of a person? Then there's something wrong with that thought process.
Wow. Do we have any more questions? We've got...
Last question. Ding, 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 ding.
We'll take one more question.
IK said 1 hour. It's been an hour 46 minutes.
Sorry, you brought the fight to our Domot, and this has been really worth it. Thank you so much, Chika.
Bless you. I would have stayed for longer, but I have students that I have a class with, and this is why I don't play with other people's time, especially when they're paying me. It's always good so that I have return customers. Oh yeah.
Okay, don't get any 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we have no more questions. Chika, I know you need to catch your breath before you. Bessie, do you have something to say?
No, I don't.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Chika. Please,
thank you for having me.
Just unmute your mics and say thank you, or give her a thumbs up or something. Let's just appreciate you.
Thanks, Chika.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chika.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Chika.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for having me. And I wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors. Choose wisely. Ask questions. Don't be afraid. And dip your toe. You will never know whether the water is warm or cold until you actually take a dive. Leap of faith, eh? All right, everyone.
Okay, then.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Obels wants to shoot a shot at Chika before she leaves.
Oh yeah, shoot your shot. Oh, shoot your shot now.
Good evening. Thank you
Good
so
evening.
much. Thank you so much. Like, I was glued to my phone screen, holding it while it's charging, like something I would not do on a normal day. Like, I really appreciate you. So my name is Dr. Obels, and I'm a medical doctor, and I just got into the film industry recently. And my interest really for now is just to produce short films, health related, strictly health related. And I've done 3. I did 3 last year, and I would really love for you to take a look at one of them and just tell me the chances it has at film festivals, if possible. Just one of them about type 1 diabetes. I would really love to hear your opinion about that film, because that's the kind of film I want to make. Right now, I just want to be focused on short films, health related.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to talk with IK, and then he will set up kind of like a Zoom meet like this, and we can both view it together, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
How short is this short, doctor?
14, 14 minutes.
Huh?
14 minutes.
Okay, you want me to see 10 minutes of it. I'm not going to see 14 minutes of
No
it.
problem at all.
10 minutes is overdoing it, but I will do it as it was asked on this platform today.
God bless you.
The one I did for IK and for today. So
thank you so much.
10 minutes, figure it out, get in touch with IK. He will let me know, and we'll figure out which day works, okay?
Thank you.
All right,
thank
before another person shoots shot. Bye.
Chika, don't, just 1 minute, yeah? So I just wanted to let people know that you're a coach and a consultant in the industry. So if you could drop your email address on the chat, just in case if anybody wants to get in touch with you directly.
Oh, well, let me just do that.
Yeah. Before you go. But then if not, then anybody can reach you through me, obviously, and I'll collect my 10%.
Yes. No problem. Anyway, so here is, but I have a film. This is my personal email address. So when you send that, the best thing to do is send to I give out my film email when you are actually a client, so that way I don't confuse myself. So this is my personal one. You can give a header of what the conversation will be, and please remind me where we met and all of that. But there you go.
Okay, thank you very much, Chika. Now we will let you go.
All right. Good night, all. God bless you. Take care.
Good night.
Good night. Flo, you and I have a meeting later, so I'll call you.
Yeah, no wahala.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ike, for setting this up. I mean, I really don't envisage us having a better conversation than it's pretty fire.
I'm happy.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Okay, Bessie, over to you for shoot your shot. B, are you here? Oh dear. Oh, Bessie, seems like she logged out.
You might as well handle shoot your shot today.
Okay. All right. So, shoot your shot, and I'm sure we all understand what shoot your shot is. By the way, this is our 6th industry conversation. We're having the last one on a Sunday next week. And then we're going to have, so next week is going to be a marathon. We're going to have one on Sunday, we're going to have one on Monday, and then we're going to have one on Tuesday. And then there'll be a few more activities to close out the semester, which will be the last Sunday in August. So please, if you want to shoot your shot, go ahead now. Yes, Dr. Obels. This is second to the last Sunday industry conversation. So please go ahead. The floor is open. We've got 8 minutes. I want to shoot my shot. Okay. It looks like we have some. Looks like we have Muggles here. Everybody is solid. Nobody needs to any shots taken. Okay.
I
So
guess there's so much to digest this evening.
yeah, she's really giving us a lot to talk about. Emmanuel,
Yeah.
you want to say something?
Hello, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Good evening, Emmanuel. We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. It's been a wonderful time. You know, at some point I wanted to leave, but at the same time I wanted to stay. Like my data finished, I had to run out, buy a time to join the class again.
Wow. Wow.
All right. So thanks a lot, everyone, the organizers for this. It's been so great. So what I want to do right now is I want to say that I am an actor and I'm open for any short film, long film, whatsoever, paid or free. I am open. I just want to put my talent out there for people to see. So yes, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, awesome. Emmanuel, get in touch with me, pitch at me. We're actually recruiting actors at the moment. So if you have a show reel or anything that we can look at, get it across to me. I can send it to the team and recommend for them to look at it, and we'll see how that goes.
All right, I will do just that. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Okay, Emmanuel, do you have a reel? Do you have a show reel of your
No, I
work?
don't have. I was the one that asked the question during the week in the group. I'm putting it together already.
Okay, cool.
Okay, what was the question? Maybe I can help because I think I missed it in the group.
Yeah, I was asking about an actor's TV, what it looks like, a format and all. So Bessie, you know, went a step further to talk about a show reel, right? So I
Okay.
didn't know that was very essential before then, but now I know. So I'm putting it together already. So, boy, you get
Okay.
it.
Okay. Yeah. Very important. Very important.
Okay, do you have anyone else?
Thank
I
you
can
very
see
much.
that Luale Ogurinde is on set. They're actually shooting a real shot. They're giving us a sneak peek of what's going on, right? Okay, they're shooting their 1 minute film on set. Okay, all right. You guys are muted though.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are on set.
Okay.
We are.
Okay. That's why a lot of people didn't come in today because you guys are shooting.
Hello.
You guys. Joke, how is it going?
We're doing well. We're doing very well.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
You the one doing makeup?
Okay, this is good. This is really good. You guys are you're putting into practice everything that we have been talking about. So since smart.
Is he playing? What is he playing? Billionaire or pastor?
Billionaire. OBO. So that we can, invest and drop the details in our ministry.
You look like $1 billion, man.
Financiers. Yeah.
Nice.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Olawale, go on, please.
No, my name is Rotimi. This is Rotimi.
Oh, Rotimi, okay. Go on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The day I shot my shot. Okay, I shot at Mr. Ike, but unfortunately, he was not online on that particular day.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know if. Sorry?
Go ahead.
Again, quick.
Okay, so I'm a photographer and an editor, a full-time editor. So I was hoping to come, learn more and get more exposed to film kind of editing, and would love to work with under the leadership of Mr. Ike. So that was the shot I shot the other day. Unfortunately, it
Wow.
was not.
Sorry, I missed
Sorry?
that. So when you say editor, what kind of editor are you doing now? What kind of editing are you doing now?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing, I do film edits. I have a couple of films that I have done, so I can probably send some to you if you don't mind, just one or
Okay.
two. And I also do some other kind of edits.
Okay, so let me just add this before.
Let's get in touch with me privately, yeah?
What did you say?
Get in touch.
Get in touch with me privately, like pitch at me.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so
well,
Rotimi also works with, I think he works in the media team in church.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
2 weeks ago when I was doing my introduction.
Oh, Mr. People, you remembered. I purposely do not want to say anything about that.
Yes, I'm talking about it. So I'm putting my weight behind Rotimi on this one.
Thank you.
He's already hired. Then he's already inside.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes, Mr. Ike.
Yes, boss.
Yes, sir. Have you read my story?
Sorry, what's the name again, please?
Wale. I was the one that sent you a Wattpad link. Wattpad link.
Okay. Please,
Yeah.
can you remind me?
I'll remind
just send me a reminder, please.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Well done to the team on set. Well done, well done, well done. Do we have any more people who want to shoot their shots?
It's 18 hours.
It's 6 p.m. already. Any more?
And time to terminate.
Yep. Okay. 5, 4, 3. Okay, Sele, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, guys. My shot is at Ike. I would like to invite you on my podcast. I just started it about a month ago. About the Nigerian. So
what's your podcast about?
So it's basically like my log line is it's for Nigerian filmmakers, their films, and basically how we can build a diverse and functional industry. So
awesome, you got me, man. Just send me a date and I'll be there. Say online, Abi. I don't have to come to physical place. Okay.
No, yeah. No,
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, schedule it and let me know. I'll be there. I'll join you.
Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So the countdown continues from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and
action.
Okay, thank you everyone. Just to recap, our last Sunday industry conversation comes up next week. After next week, we're going to have one the day after, which is Monday, and then the final one, which is on Tuesday. And then we'll have the wrap-ups for the semester, a few more. There's some competitions going on now and some production, so we're just going to wrap up. So technically, we're getting to the very, very end of the semester. It's been great working with all of you. Please remember, as Chika said, build a network, okay? This is a great platform to build networks. Build a network, leverage all the opportunities you have, okay? And God bless you all. So have a good evening, everyone, and see you next Sunday. Take care.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Welcome. Thank you, Ike. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right, the recording will be shared by Bessie in a bit.
All right, thanks. Good night.
Night. Bye-bye.